Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this session, I am going to talk about endodermal pouches derivatives. Previously, we have studied about the pharyngeal arch derivatives, ectodermal cleft derivatives. So in this session, I am going to talk about the endodermal pouch derivatives. So totally we are having 5 endodermal pouches are there, and the 5th endodermal pouch will be disappear. Each pouch, it consists of 2 ends, dorsal end and ventral end. The ventral end of each pouch is obliterated due to development of developing tongue. So each pouch consists of 2 ends, that is dorsal end and ventral end. And what about the ventral end? Ventral end will be obliterated because of tongue development. Now, each dorsal end of each pouch, it divides into 2 wings, that is dorsal wing and ventral wing. So, each pouch consists of, that is dorsal end of each pouch divides into dorsal wing and ventral wing except first pharyngeal pouch. So, in the first pharyngeal pouch, there is no division of dorsal and ventral wing. Okay, next we'll go for derivatives of first endodermal pouch. The first endodermal pouch just all consists of dorsal wing and ventral wing. So, the first pharyngeal pouch derivatives. The first pharyngeal pouch is joins with dorsal wing of second pharyngeal pouch and give rise to one important recesses. The name of the recess will be the tubotympanic recesses. So you can see in this diagram, I show you the pink color. This is the first endodermal pouch. This first endodermal pouch joins with the dorsal wing of second pharyngeal pouch to form a recesses is called as tubotympanic recesses. This tubotympanic recesses consists of medial part and lateral part. This medial part is narrow and give rise to auditory tube, whereas the lateral part is dilated and give rise to tympanic cavity, mastoid antrum, mastoid air cell and mucus layer lining of tympanic membrane. So this is the 4 important structures which is arises from the blind end of tubotympanic recesses. Number 1 will be the tympanic cavity. Number 2, mastoid antrum, mastoid air cells and mucosal lining of tympanic membrane. Now you can see a thin layer of mesoderm will be present between first ectodermal cleft and endodermal pouch. This thin layer of mesenchyme and give rise to fibrous layer of tympanic membrane. Now you can understand that tympanic membrane is arises from a 3 germ layer, ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. This ectoderm is give rise to cuticular layer of tympanic membrane. This mesoderm give rise to fibrous layer of tympanic membrane, and the blind end of the tubotympanic recesses give rise to mucosal lining of tympanic membrane. So next we'll go for second pharyngeal pouch derivatives. The second pharyngeal pouch, it consists of 2 ends, that is the ventral end and dorsal end. The ventral end is obliterated by the developing tongue. And what about the dorsal end? The dorsal end divides into dorsal wing and ventral wing. This dorsal wing joins with the first pharyngeal pouch. It involves the formation of tubotympanic recesses. The ventral wing of second pharyngeal pouch gives rise to tonsil. This tonsil is nothing but it is the endodermal cells proliferation. This endodermal cell is converted into solid buds, or we can say the tonsillar buds. Initially there is a formation of tonsillar bud. Later this bud, there will be a formation of cavity by central integration of cells. So what happened after formation of tonsillar buds, there will be a central cavity within the bud. So it leads to formation of crypts. You can see the tonsillar crypts. So Inside the tonsillar crypts, it's surrounded by lymphatic aggregation, or you can say this is the lymphatic follicles. This lymphatic follicles is derived from the mesenchyme, or will be the circulating bloodstream. So after formation of crypts, it's surrounded by the lymphatic aggregations. So this is the development of palatine tonsil. So the ventral wing of second pharyngeal pouch give rise to palatine tonsil. Next we'll go for third pharyngeal pouch. So the third pharyngeal pouch is dorsal end, again divided into dorsal wing and ventral wing. This dorsal wing of third pharyngeal pouch give rise to inferior parathyroid gland. And what about the ventral wing? This ventral wing give rise to thymus gland. So these two wings, initially it is connected with the pharynx, that is primitive pharynx, through superior pharyngeal branchial duct. Later what happened? This duct will be disappear. That is, later it is disconnected from the primitive pharynx. But the connection between inferior parathyroid and thymus will be persist for some time. Later what happened? This thymus and inferior parathyroid gland reach the adult position. So in adult, the thymus will be present in the thorax, that is in the superior mediastinum and anterior mediastinum. Whereas the inferior parathyroid gland, it is present in the lateral aspect, that is on the dorsal aspect of the lateral lobe, especially in the lower part. How it reaches the adult position? So when the developing heart and aortic sac, when it starts descending downwards, it drags or it allows the caudal migration of thymus and inferior parathyroid gland. Next we'll go to the derivatives of fourth pharyngeal pouch. The fourth pharyngeal pouch again consists of two ends, that is ventral end and dorsal end. This ventral end will be disappear and the dorsal end give rise to ventral wing and dorsal wing. So the dorsal wing give rise to superior parathyroid gland. This ventral wing joins with the fifth pouch to involve the formation of one important complex. The name of the complex will be the caudal pharyngeal complex. Caudal pharyngeal complex. So ventral wing of fourth pharyngeal pouch joins with rudimentary fifth pouch to form a caudal pharyngeal complex. This complex gives rise to three elements. Number one, thymic element. Number two, lateral thyroid element. Number three, ultimobranchial body. So these are the three elements which is derived from the caudal pharyngeal complex. This thymic element will be incorporated into the thymus gland. And what about the function of this lateral thyroid element? It will be arrest the caudal migration of thyroglossal duct. So normally the thyroglossal duct will be present in the midline. So in the distal end, what happens? This thyroglossal duct will be leads to development of thyroid gland. So because of this element, it prevents further caudal migration of thyroglossal duct. If the lateral thyroid element is not there, what happens? This thyroglossal duct will be descend downwards and reach the thorax. So next, this ultimobranchial body. This ultimobranchial body will be joins with the lateral lobe of the thyroid gland and involve the formation of parafollicular cells, or you can say C cells, which is present in the thyroid glands. So these are the derivatives of endodermal pouch.